Okay. And I'm just to the application right now. Okay. Actually, it's a OTP based login. Right now, I had already logged in a short while back, so it allowed me to go inside straight away. Okay. So this is my home page as such in the application. Okay. So we have a set of tabs here which cover the important elements of the product. Okay. I'll start with say let's say campaign and so yeah, just to give a background that what is this application about? We are helping we're helping brands know what are the metrics of their outdoor plan. The outdoor plan, it could be a set of billboards, let's say 10 billboards across Bangalore. So how could the metrics of that plan be over a period of 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, depending on what the client brief is and what the budget the client has and so on. Okay, so this tool is going to help us plan a campaign based on the suggestion the software outputs and then uh, recommend a set of a plan to the client which the client may or may not agree with, and there'll be some fine tuning to it based on their inputs. Okay, so now these are the important ones are the plan and campaign, which are the two important tabs here. Let me start by doing about.
Yes.
Reshma, on this landing page, if you notice, each of these boxes represent a campaign. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, or perhaps segregate it by the city. I'm not sure, because the list keeps going, and after a certain period of time, the list can actually get quite long.
This is the client dashboard, or this is the admin dashboard. Meaning, this is front end to the client, or this is front end to the you as a back end.
This is the front end to the client.
The front end to the client. Okay.
These new components on website. So, would you have some filters already enabled, or is this the next phase of scope? Let's say during design, if we were to kind of bring in some filters, choose the city, choose the radius, or aging and whatnot, right?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
okay, should go ahead.
So the filters right now that you see on this particular dashboard is based on completed, ongoing, and archived. And that is, I'm talking to the screen. Later, the user can see on the screen. Now, how a campaign is created, those are different filters that Harshal will walk you through. Okay?
I got it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the home page where we are all occupied at some level. Let me just summarize things. Okay. So the campaign, let's say I want to create a campaign. So I go to plan my campaign. Okay. And let's say I want to do a campaign for Bangalore. Okay. Our target group is defined by what sort of demographic does the consumer belong to. So let's say NCC is A and B. And let's say we want to do a male and female campaign. So we don't have to choose either of them. So it's assumed that both expected. Age groups begins, let's say, choose 20 to 45 years as the TG for this particular test brief. Now I can have it to rank based on residential or transit. Now it's so we can do a plan which is let's say transit focused, and counts is essentially in terms of absolute counts how many how many potential impressions will this particular plan deliver. So the areas will be ranked based on transit counts. Okay. When I say residential percentage, what it would mean is that the population may not be as high, but the population or the concentration of people within that TG, which is in this case AB to 45 years, will be very high. Okay. So if it were only A, for example, and let's say Bangalore and Koramangala, your Banashankari, Indiranagar, etc., the more prominent areas would get ranked first. Okay. And of course, if the composition or the counts is also high, then even those areas would also get ranked high, considering the counts aspect as well. Okay. So now currently, so if I do transit, because from an outdoor perspective, usually most of our plans are transit focused. There are briefs in which clients also say that we can let's do a residential focused plan, but that's probably 5% select touch points in the mix. Okay. Now, if I were to now just
Reshma, but if you look at the screen, Reshma, look at the amount of selections the user has to do, and
Right. So is it me or I'm not able to hear you, Sridhar? Sridhar, I'm not able to hear you.
I can hear you, Sri.
I can hear you. Yes, now I can.
Okay. Now, if you look at the layout of this particular screen, and look at the selections that the user has to do. Under each tab, there are multiple things, which is a long running list of choices that the user has got. I don't know if it's intuitive enough for the user to actually self-explanatory or not. Basically, there are three main things that he has to select: the city, the target group, and the touch points. In no particular order. If you think sequencing is important, where that makes the UX, the field to be much better, then you can suggest based on that. But things like this makes the application looks very heavy. If you look at the icon, the section, the colors, the color palette, the color theme, all the colors of the icons are completely different. Look at the fonts and look at the color theme. You can find so many colors on the screen.
Right.
That's what I wanted to highlight on the screen. So data and user selections. There's no way that the user can figure out that you have to click city, click target, and the touch points.
Right.
Finally get to saving a campaign. Okay, go ahead,
Okay, so certainly, I mean, there is some element of it because there are so many touch points and every brief is different for depending on what the client is. So if in a client, then the automotive touch points are relevant. If it's, let's say, a TG which is generic and we want to target especially corporate professionals, for example, and there's a set of corporate touch points as well. Okay, there's retail touch points. So that's how the user has to like run through the various touchpoint categories, like the parent categories, and then for themselves whether which would be more relevant for a certain brief that we are trying to crack. Okay. So currently now I'm just saying NCC's and I'm just we're going to go to the next page and we'll say get locations.
My apologies for my ignorance. The one point I didn't get is just what is that A and B that you have selected in the beginning?
Okay. So that's how, see, from a research perspective, and what is used very commonly in marketing circles and research circles is that the demographic of a consumer, okay, is defined by NCCS ABCD, where it essentially is a table which denotes what sort of asset ownership does a consumer have and also what is the education of the chief wage earner at another level, meaning there's a matrix between number of assets the rows, and in the columns you have the education of chief wage earner. Okay. So if a person graduate,
Reshma, for your simplicity of your understanding, it's a classification of a group of people into A or B or C based on their affluence.
Okay. But the people who will be using this application will be aware of this, right?
Actually, it's more in terms of not the affluence. Just what to say from the research perspective, it's the propensity to consume a certain kind of product or service, which is dictated by the NCCS. So if you are educated and you have a certain number of assets, then your lifestyle is of a certain kind. But if you have the same number of assets but you're less educated, then your lifestyle is a different kind.
Okay.
And that's what the NCCS, the new consumer classification system, is supposed to do. Yeah. So it's a lifestyle indicator.
Okay.
Yeah, from a UX standpoint, Reshma, it's a set of
locations. So when I say 100, it will show me the top 100 sites that are relevant to this PG. Okay, so some sites could be in the same neighborhood and so on. So once we run this, we'll be able to understand that. Okay. So what this particular uh, ranking is giving us is on the right. So this is a revision of what we had inputted. Okay, as that puts. And then on the right, we have these ranks from 1 going till, we'll have to go all the way down. So there are 23, 20, in fact, a little more, 25 ranks, which cover 100 top sites of the city. Okay. And the top that location incidentally has 15 sites for where they can choose a site. Okay. This is some location. I'm just trying to figure out.
So Harshal, when we say site, it is nothing but the outdoor hoarding boards, correct?
Correct.
yes.
Yeah, it could be any form of outdoor media, billboard or boarding or a shelter or and
Right.
bridges and so on. Many
Yeah.
like
Reshma, for our understanding, right, when you're coming from airport, you might see some large hoardings put out, right?
Yeah.
So they are talking about that. That is site.
right. This is I think near Nepal junction.
Yeah.
This is a major entry point into Bangalore, I would think. And that's for our PG, where we want AB 20 to 45-year-olds. So what it's these are 1,60,000 number of impressions are getting delivered. And with PG, 1,000 impressions will be delivered. So which is almost or exactly 46.06%. Okay. 75,000 upon 1,62,000, that would be 46% of your impressions would belong to the PG. Yeah. If you go down further, then see this was for rank 1. Okay, so these are all the locations within the first rank itself. These are 16 locations which are all in this particular cluster. Uh, when we go further down, we have rank 2, which is 69,000 and so on. And uh, yeah, see the composition here interestingly is more. But since we have just based on transit counts, the overall number of 76,000 gets precedence as compared to the percentage. So yeah, and similarly this down.
Reshma, if you look at the screens, it's talking about the numbers, and by looking at the numbers, because Harshal knows it in and out, he is able to grasp it. But if you and Jay look at it, you should be able to understand just by looking at it without or less explaining required, with little help. That's where the UX comes into the picture.
Right.
So this is the second rank is Jai Mahal Bangalore Urban and so on.
Sorry for asking one more question. Who is the audience to this site? When you say client is nothing but, let's say Pepsi wants to put up some advertisement. Is Pepsi gonna look at this when they will have a
Just looking to running marks.
Okay, so the clients can be either the brand managers at Pepsi in your example, or it could be the media owners. They want to know what is their audience around it, or it could be agencies who are trying to understand the impact of that location, or it could be a research. Even in the agency, there will be a division. There will be divisions called research. So those are the kind of people who will be looking at this.
And how are these users getting an access? You said OTP based. So will you have to register them prior, or anybody can register on your site and can access to this?
Sorry. Can I just interrupt you? So, sorry, I got interrupted. I had to answer somebody. Very important discussion on the TG for this platform, right? So there are two aspects of it. One, the only users of this platform are people within the Lux system. And we do not expect more than 10 users across the country, 10